Howdy all, Nimby here. Hey, morning, Luca. Jumped in nice and quick, just getting set up here. We're gonna be tying a, I need to pronounce that again, a Pink Frammus this morning. You can also do it as a green Frammus, which is the exact same thing in reverse. We're gonna be using some kind of outdated materials to tie this, but you can definitely substitute. I'm just going to be tying in my thread there. I want to get a full thread base on it, but it can just be a loose thread base. It's more just to keep the body from slipping. As apparently my hook is. 1 second. Okay, I guess you're a little bit too thin to go into that point device. There we go. My bad, just let me catch up here. Okay, we want to stop the thread body just before the point there. Hey, Robert. We're tying a Pink Frammus this morning. Really simple fly. You might actually like this one. It's extremely simple and oddly effective. It's actually a really local one. This is one that we fish in BC, more close to the Vancouver Island. It was originally tied by, what was his name now? Vic Stevens from Courtenay, Vancouver, from Vancouver Island. And super simple thing. It's just a simple body and, oh, hopefully it's the clean plumber, not the dirty kind of plumber. That's the downside of plumbing, right? Blech. So I'll do it really quick for you then, Robert, and you can pick up on the stream afterwards if you like. But basically we only got 2 materials for this fly. So we got a pink Fentex. You can use a polycord if you can't find pink Fentex. This is out of print now, so this color doesn't really exist anymore unless you can find it in thrift stores. But it was extremely popular for the time frame that they printed. I'm not sure why they took it out of print, but they did. But this kind of salmon pink is what we're using for the body. And then it just has a simple overwing of the same thing, Fentex. And this is in lime green, but it's more like a chartreuse green. But they call it lime. But it's basically, for all intents and purposes, it's a chartreuse green. So same thing. You can get, if you can get some polycord and brush it out, you could definitely tie this up with some type of polycord. You could use chenille for the body, and then use a poly wing, and that would work perfectly fine. But yeah, traditionally it's just these 2 materials, just pink and green Fentex. Yeah. Oh good, oh good. At least it's the top part, not the bottom. But yeah, just these 2 materials. So yeah, sure, you can imagine that if you can't stick with us for the whole thing, but we're going to be doing the pink along the body. Then there's the green Frammus, which is the opposite, where you do the green along the body and the pink along the wing. We're going to do the pink version this morning. I'm tying this on a size 6 salmon steelhead, kind of classic streamer style hook. I'm not 100% sure how much of this I'm going to need, but I'll take a little bit more than I think I will, and we'll see where we're sitting. Normally I'd break this down into its strands. I think this one, I think the old pink is a 2-strander. We'll have a look here and see where we're sitting at. But since we're doing a whole body, I may leave it together. There you go. This is like the old Fentex was just made so much better. You can see, look at here. You can see all those 3 strands, how easy that unstrands. Look at that, like it's just like, it's beautiful. So like they don't make this stuff anymore, unfortunately. It's made in Canada. You can get it in the States though for sure. But this is the new stuff. Like this is stuff I bought at Michael's just a couple weeks ago. And this is the same company, same product. And you can tell like how much like the quality difference. You can see how strandy it is and the fact that it doesn't really come in bound strands anymore. This one kind of separates well into two. But for the wing, the newer version actually is a little bit easier because it brushes out a little easier. The only downside is every once in a while on these strands you're going to get a spot. I'll see if I can show you here. And you can fix it, but every once in a while you'll find your little separation. There is separations. Each one's a little different. Right there. You can see how it's catching on these corners. And I don't know if it's just the melting process or the... I'm dropping the whole thing. Let me cut this off so I don't drop my whole bundle here and make a mess of myself. Okay, let's cut ourselves off a good hand width of this stuff. Yeah, I mean, like, this is still durable as all get out. Like, it's strong stuff. You could probably pull your truck out of a ditch with it. And it floats like all get out. So that part's cool. Very durable. You can see here, like, when I cut it, the other stuff you can easily separate into separate strands, where this one, it is definitely stranded, but it's just they're mucked together. And then every so often, there'll be a point where they melt it together. Let's see if I can find one of those. Of course, as soon as I want to demonstrate something, it's not going to do it for me. There was one down here, but I kind of pulled it out. In either case, we're not really pulling. Yeah, like the older stuff, I love finding it in the thrift store because it's like, wee! I mean, it's cheap anyway, so it really doesn't matter. And if you're just making a wing out of it, honestly, this newer stuff actually makes a better wing because it kind of puffs out a little better and the strands are a little bigger. So, you know, thankfully we're using this for a wing today. So, there's that. If I can stop this from being so cranky. Okay, let's put that away before I hurt myself. Now, for a smaller fly, I would take this apart. As you saw, it can, if you just untwist it a bit, it comes out and it strands real nicely. So this works great. You can go down to like a size 12 or more for body material with this older stuff. And it's just much finer. Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's like in their process of making the material or if it's in the process of baling it or spooling it or whatever the right term is for that. Because it does hold the fibers together and it looks like it's done intentionally, probably so it doesn't come apart. But I'm not sure what point in the process they do that. And it seems to be fairly random. Like it seems sometimes you get 3 or 4 of them really close together and other times there's a good section without one. Either way, you can just bust them open or cut it. You just got to plan ahead. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's benefits for either one. It's crazy how they went from, in my opinion, a really, well, I mean, like you said, one's not really better than the other. I prefer the old stuff. But there's definitely uses for either. I'm just going to cut this off so we got a nice clean tie-in point. But like I was saying, I normally would strand this down. But we're making the whole body out of this. And typically they're tied with a somewhat thick body and with a little bit of segmentation to them. Who do we got in here? Hey Yoshi, good to have you in, mate. I'm just going to try and pull this down a bit, get rid of that fluff. We can bury it in, but I'm just going to Try and make it a little easier on myself. There we go. Okay, so I want to leave some landing room, so kind of what I'm going for the tie-in here. Like the end of your half-hitch tool kind of for the head area, because we want a decent sized head on it. And again, the end of the half-hitch tool for the tie-in area which is going to be the tie-in area for the wing. As this is hanging out in my trash can and getting stuff stuck on it. There we go. Okay, so like I said, I'm not worried about really binding this down like crazy right now. I'm going to lightly bind this all the way down. And our thread base should stop this from spinning. I want to get this right kind of at that barb point. And once we get to the barb point, I want to do a good 5 or 6 wraps right there just to stop it from coming loose. And then back up to our tie off point. There we go. Alright, so the traditional pattern on this one that he tied is he took it like this and he quartered it up. So I'm spinning this in a clockwise direction, and I'll have to keep doing that because as I wrap it, it's going to undo itself like it just did, but I want to get a half hitch in here first because I might decide to use the rotary. But these are a great, like, quick and dirty fly that you can just toss a good amount of these into, like, say, the Fraser or the Thompson. No worries, Robert. Good to have you in. I'm sure you can follow along later, or in your mind you can tell what we're doing here. Like I said, it's a really simple fly. It's fun because it's a local favorite and just produces really well. I'm not really sure why, to be honest, these two colors work so well, but they do. So we'll just go with that. Not gonna argue with them. Right, happy fish are happy fish. There we go. So yeah, I'm just cording this up. So we end up with like, almost like it's gonna look like we wrapped it with chenille, basically. Okay, we're going to go about halfway into our tie-in point there. I really need to tighten my vise. These are smaller in shank width than I thought they were going to be. Yeah, good luck on the repair, mate. It's super loose in my vise right now. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can. Oh, 1 second. I'll get a few more wraps on there because I don't really have it. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. Yeah, for sure. That's true. Sometimes I wonder if it's more like temperature and pressure. Okay, that's a little better. Might have to jank it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just tying this off on the side here. And this stuff ties in pretty good. I don't need to go as ham as I am on it, but that's what I did, so that's what we're doing. Yeah, this old pink stuff is a treat to tie with. It's nice and soft. I'm just glad they're still producing it, even if it is a different product in essence than it used to be. I'm glad it's still being produced. One of my favorite synthetic materials, to be honest. I'm just gonna make this. That's very true. Yeah, they're way more pressured now than they used to be. That's very, very true. Hey, Maddie, good to have you in. Oh. All right, let's try and use some of this before it goes all nasty on me. I'm gonna over tie this like drastically here, and then we're cutting it off anyway. And then I'm going to shred it. I'm gonna tie in a light. Oh, I got jack pepper in, I'm assuming. I'll have a look here in a second once I get this tied in. Give me a second. Yeah, such a simple little. Oh, gosh, man, you're just everywhere. Sorry, Jack. Be with you in a second here. Hey, it's Jack Pepper. Good deal. Yeah, it's a super simple little thing. I mean, there's nothing really to this. If you're, yeah, I got like 4 or 5 hanks of olive Fentex, and that was like a wonderful color for nymphs and stuff around here. It's just like magic. It's like I don't know why it works so well because there's lots of other olive materials out there that are very, very similar, but for whatever reason, olive Fentex is like has some sort of magical dust sprinkled on it. But they stopped making that stuff in the was it late 80s? And a lot of tires around here will pay really good money for a hank of that stuff. I've seen on Facebook Marketplace. I've seen it go for like 60 to 70 bucks just for one hank of it. So if you ever see that in the thrift store, grab it. Not because it's worth money, because you might not see it again. I got a lot of head build up here, so let's start building. Being a salmon steelhead, yeah, I don't think it was that popular for the uses that they were making it for, because of course this was made for mostly for women's slippers. Older ladies would make their slippers out of this stuff. And of course in the 70s, that kind of olive, earthy colors, there's a lot of really nice earthy colors that they had. But of course, that kind of went out of favor, and the 80s came by, especially the late 80s, everything was moving more to bright colors. So that's where you had like the nice, they have a really nice, I think they actually call it Toro. It's a nice bright red, and they have a really nice bright purple that came out at that time. And things like that, you know, the 80s colors, right? And a blue and stuff like that. But they moved away from the fly tying colors. And since this stuff, it's really, really hard to dye into anything else. Like the color is actually into the material when it's drawn. Okay, so that's it. So now we're gonna sit there and we're gonna pinking shears. Actually, I don't have any on hand here. I have a bunch, but I don't have any on my desk right now. But if you have pinking shears, that makes this process easier to shorten this up. I could have actually tied it the right length at the time, but I didn't. But what we're going to do is we're going to grab little bits here and just kind of loosely cut it. And the trick is to try and cut it without really trying to cut it. Yeah, unfortunately, we hit a heat wave here this week, and we're back up into the pluses again, and like really into the pluses. Like it's, like the sun's just coming up, and it's like plus 10 outside. It's like, come on, man! It's like, what? This is January in like central Canada. We should be substantially colder than this. Like really much colder than this. It's going to be a really good year for the invertebrates and for all the fish food. But the other problem is it's also going to be a really good year for all the other invertebrates like pine beetle and everything like that, because we didn't really get the cold to kill them off, so we could have a bad pine beetle year. Or other insects causing problems. There, so I kind of just shredded that. Where's my... I have a copper. It's actually just a... I think it's a 22. It doesn't matter the caliber, but like a 22 rifle bore cleaning brush. Works really good for shredding this stuff. Just like a copper brusher. Copper, brass, or whatever brand you go with, doesn't matter. I'm just using a nylon one here. But the bore cleaning brushes, they're a lot more robust than this one is. And like I said, this material is very, very strong. So as long as you're not going ham hock on it, you're not going to hurt it. The original pattern wants like a 45-degree wing here. But you know, as soon as you start fishing that, it's going to go all over the place. But yeah, that is your traditional. So you want the wing to coming out basically almost a body length behind it. Some people fish them shorter, some people fish them really long. Some people put a puff of pink tail out the back, which actually looks really good, and I don't think it would be a downside whatsoever. But this is the original pattern. And then there's the green Frammus, which is the exact same thing in opposite, where you have the green body and the pink wing. But yeah, let's get some. I do like the heads shaped like this for these. I'll put my hand up there so you can see it a little better. I'm not really sure why I decided to wear a black shirt with a black hook today, but I did, so we're gonna have to roll with it. I normally put a little bit of thought into that, honest. Just a little bit, just a wee bit, but not today. Today I wore my dad's shirt. Well, that's an excellent idea, Luke. I never even thought about that. Unfortunately, like the good mass, well, my wife was actually just commenting on that. It was like a week or two ago now. But she was commenting how the mascara brushes have kind of just gone to crap compared to what they used to be. And that all the new, like the new plasticky ones are just kind of junk compared to the older. So she saved some of the older brush ends. I could have actually built that now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, now that I'm looking at it, I could probably build that head out a little bit more than that. Let's do that, why not? Just give it a little bit more angle up there. Yeah, I know, super invigorating filming, I know. I apologize. Yep. That's what you get with high production Nimby fly tying here. Yep. Oh my god. Oh, I caught that good, didn't I? Whew. Come on, Vice, do your job today. What's up with you? I like to tie with these, well, any of these varnished kind of salmon hooks, I try to keep. Oh, wow, I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this head this morning. Okay, let's do that again. I know it's not super necessary. I could totally varnish that, and it's not going to go anywhere. But yeah, she was just telling me how much they've changed in the last couple of years, kind of since COVID, I guess, and that it's hard to find a decent brush. Well, a good thing you got 10 fingers, so if she breaks one, you'll be okay. Alright, absolutely unnecessary whip finish on there, but there we go. We got her done. But yeah, like, it's a really simple, super easy fly. And like when you're fishing, like, especially like the North Thompson, like up by Clearwater or Valemont or Barrier, all those areas, um, you'll lose a lot of these. Oh, good. Yeah, because on my screen it kind of just completely faded away, and I never really thought about that. I was thinking about the body material colors, and I didn't want to wear like a green shirt. Yeah, I just literally grabbed it as it fell out of the vise. But you know. Okay, let's get some head smell on here. But yeah, like if you're fishing like the North Thompson, where we used to do a lot of salmon fishing, way up the North Thompson, like Clearwater, um, Vavenby, Valemont area, Little Fort, Barrier, like that whole stretch. You're gonna lose a lot of these. Like we would tie up a bucket of them because you're gonna bounce them along the bottom or get them as close as you can to bouncing along the bottom. And there's lots of I'm pretty sure it's granite, but like it's a heavy igneous rock and it's everywhere there, and it's a lot of the rivers are nice and round boulders, but there's definitely sections in there where the fish are, and you'll lose a lot of these guys. But if you're down like where this was originally tied, down in Courtney, there's lots of nice little rivers and little creeks and stuff coming up from the ocean up into the island. And like the first delta areas for the Fraser and all that are going to be kind of choice. So I'm putting on that a little thick just because we got a nice big head on there. I do, like I said, like tying these with the head fairly. Oh, cool. I'm glad you do. Yeah, you can, like, you don't have to stick. These are just the classic colors, but I've seen them in everything from like a blue wing and a red body, or orange and red, or um, light blues, dark blues, all sorts, like just kind of like whatever people have laying around. The blues are generally a little bit more on the attractive to steelhead side of things. And then for the salmon, you want to stick with the pinks and the reds and the oranges, anything kind of roe colored. They don't seem to care at all about the other colors. Green, for whatever reason, works really well with salmon too, and I'm not really sure why or what that represents, but it does. Like this kind of chartreusey green. If you're going to do any sort of color, the chartreusey green works really well for them. Actually, that one turned out rather well for just a quick old oh, and I forgot my tea. Okay, I'm gonna grab my tea. I'll be right back. It's just in the microwave. I was heating it back up. One second. I'm just gonna grab my tea, then we'll do our spin and spiel. There we go. Yeah, so the it's just one of those mornings where make myself a nice tea, set it down, it cools off too much, heat it back up, forget it in the microwave, cools off again, re-microwave. This one's been through the ringer. There you go, guys. Good morning. Still warm enough. Get our morning tea in, right? Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, it's just a really, I don't want to say common pattern, but like that overall body shape, having the overwing, having a segmented wrap body, whether you're using Fentex or chenille or whatever, don't matter, right? But just that overall fly, put my hand on it so you can probably see it slightly better. Just that overall silhouette is extremely efficient for all sorts of different um species of fish, for sure. And the nice thing about this specific fly, like I said, you're going to lose and beat up a lot of these. So the Fentex is like ridiculously durable. Hey, Ron, good to have you in, mate. You got your little snake up there. Okay, so I'm going to do my little spin and spiel for this guy. Won't be too bad. In the vise, we have a Pink Frammus. This is tied on a size 6 steelhead or salmon hook. And it's a very simple pattern. It only has two materials to it. So we got a pink Fentex body tied up, corded, so we twist it into a clockwise formation. So it almost looks more like a chenille body. And if you don't have Fentex in pink, which is hard to find nowadays, you're more than welcome to use a chenille body on that. We have a Fentex green. In this case, it is their lime color, but it's really just a chartreuse. So if you have any chartreuse polyarn kicking around, you can brush that out and you'll end up with roughly the same idea. This original pattern was tied by Vic Stevens from Courtney, Vancouver Island, Vancouver. So it's a really local pattern. It's used all up and down the Fraser, Thompson. It's really good for steelhead, and I've also got some salmon on it. It's a wonderful little pattern. It's really simple, extremely durable, and just works a treat for fall salmon and steelhead. You can tie this in different variations. There's a green Frammis, which is the exact same thing and opposite. Green body and pink wing. And I've seen people tie this in all different shapes and shades of colors. Sometimes you'll put a little puffy tail out the back of the same color as the body. But yeah, it's an excellent little pattern for a new tire. Extremely effective and just a wonderful thing to add to your box. Yeah, adding a tail to it, like that's how I was originally. Sorry, just trying to adjust my mic here. 1 second. That's a little better. But yeah, when I was originally taught to tie these, we would actually just tie them with just regular monofilament fly line, or not fly line. We were bait casting them. We would just use regular monofilament, so like 18, 20 pound leader kind of mono, and we'd stick the. Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah, you can spread it out and split them off in half. Like I said, I've seen people do all kinds of sort of different things with this pattern. You can really have fun with it. But the way I was originally taught to tie this was you would basically snell the hook with your monofilament, and you tie in your three. Most of the time it was 3-strand, but we were using red at the time. So like a 3 or 4 strand like this, and you tie that in as you were snelling in the hook, and then you'd take the rest of it and you'd wrap it around the hook to create the body. So you'd wrap back and then forward again, and then when you're finishing off the snell, you'd take the end of it through the, you do an extra loop through the eye of the hook there, and you'd take the end of it and you'd put it in, and that would be your wing. So the original first ones that I tie to this, and it's basically the same fly. We didn't even use thread, right? We would just literally just use that, and that would become your leader. You'd tie up a good, several dozen of those. And then you can also on those, depending on how you're fishing them, because you'll have the line that goes through the eye of the hook from after you do your snell. You can attach your egg sac, so some people would take a little bit of roe, tie it up in a little mesh baggie, and then you could stick that into the little snell loop. There's a term for it, I can't recall it off the top of my head. There's a term for that little loop that you can do when you're snelling the hook that goes through the eye, and you can use that as like a little catch point, put your little baggie of roe in there, and that adds scent and all that other stuff to the fly, and increases your chance of getting some. As long as your regulations allow you to do that, depending what time of year it is and everything. But yeah, I'm happy with that guy. So that's a Pink Frammus. Extremely versatile, fun little pattern. That's the original, as far as I can tell from all my books and research and everything, that's the original pattern from 1937, was it? No, sorry, 1967. Wow, I went back too far. We're going to stick him right here until he dries. He can go hang out with our leech. There we go. Yeah. So you can whip off, like, I'd sit down for a whole afternoon and just fill up a whole old margarine container full of those things. And weren't necessarily trying to make him pretty like I'm doing now. Hopefully he looked okay. We'd normally tie them on a different style of hook too. Mostly because I think that's what we had handy. We go one size up, so we normally use like 4s and 2s. But a 6 will do. I'm going to tighten this up again. Is that tighter? I think I tightened it. Thank you. It's a little balancing act on these type of hooks for having enough tension and not too much. Because if you do too much tension on it, you'll wreck the varnish that's on them. So you want enough tension to... Normally if you can do that, which I did at the start when and there it goes, see? Dude, what's up with my hook? 1 second. Normally if you can flick it like that and it goes to twang, I'm just going to take this nail file and just clean this just a hair here. I might have got something in there. Yeah, normally if you can get your hook in the vise and you can give it that little twack, it's just like when you get a tie-down strap on a car and you twack it and you go like, that's not going nowhere. Dude. It's like, I don't understand. It feels like it's tight and then it loosens. Like, the more I wiggle this, like, I'm a little scared to go tighter than that. It's almost as tight as I can go on this vise. Yeah, I can't even go that tight. Yeah, that's the fun thing with this type of pattern. You can play with it. You can make it bigger. Okay, that is really tight. Why are you so... Wow, why are you so flippy? I don't get it. Let's try you down here again. Yeah, even in that, I mean, hmm. Sorry guys. Wow, look at that. What is going on with this hook? I got that cranked right down, like I can barely get that vise. Okay, I mean, like that should be okay as long as I'm gentle with it. I'm not sure why that's so slippy in the vise though. There's a lot of tension on that thing. Weird. Okay, well, whatever. We're gonna run with it. It's not even straight. Kind of scared to straighten it. Yeah, that's true. I do that. Yep. Sometimes I'll actually just wrap the vice jaws with electrical tape. Then they kind of get gummy, and you got to get some alcohol or something to clean them off with after. So electrical tape glue kind of gets all over after a bit. I actually used some brown packing tape that was like a cardboard for cardboard packing. It's not the plastic stuff, but like it's almost like a craft paper. Yeah, you don't need a whole lot. No, it's just to give you that. Well, it's the same reason, physics wise, that we put a thread body on our hook, right? So you have something that you can bind against. You can't bind against a solid material like the hook shank. It's just not going to go anywhere. So in this case, we have two solid materials, a round hook shank and vice grips. But the vice jaws should be a harder temper, so they should bite into it. But man, I don't know why this one's having so much trouble. I'll have a look at it later. I might just need to clean them. That is true. If you use it on the hook, then you don't have to worry about cleaning the jaws up. That is very true. I didn't even really think about that aspect of it. Thanks for pointing that out, Luca. That's a good point for sure. So I'm just loose wrapping this because really all this thread base here is doing. Again, I'm not sure if you can see it too well. Um, I'm not trying to get it butt to butt on there. Maybe you can see it better if I'm rubbing my bodkin on it. You can see how it's jumping around. So I got like a thread length in between each one because I really want to almost make it almost more like sandpaper, right? So it's a little more grippy. I don't think I got enough here. Do I have enough on that? Hmm. Well, let's be brave. Let's be brave, gentlemen. Let's tempt fate and tie this short piece in and see if we can make it work. I probably have just enough here to make this happen, but we're gonna go with it. Why not? Feel adventurous this morning. Sun's coming out. It's like we're already past the winter solstice, and every day is getting warmer. But I don't even feel like I had winter yet. I've seen people do that too, yeah. Like if you're tying a lot of something, you can definitely modify your vise and get some soft, sticky jaws in there. Like I don't normally like. I mean, you guys watch my videos fairly commonly, and I don't normally have this issue, so I'm not sure. I've done that. I have one vise. What do I use that for now? I did it with, do I have them sitting around here? Yeah, these guys. I did the same thing with these. I don't know if it'll pick up on the camera, but these are coated with a rubber cement. You can kind of probably, there you go. On that angle, you can see on the tip, there's kind of a bit of a gob on it. But these hackle pliers, I coated that the same way for the same reason. Um, Again, it just gives it a material to bite into that's not metal and shiny. I'm just gonna go probably 2 more wraps back, I think. See if we get right where that, yeah, that's good right there. You don't want to go too far back. Like if you go past that barb, it's gonna want to. Yeah, same idea though. I mean, like that he's doing with the vise, right? Um, and it's kind of a fun part of the hobby that you find material or tools and you modify them a bit to work with what you want. Then you curse the manufacturer for not doing it for you and having the hindsight to do it ahead of time. But yeah, I wish I could remember. Oh, I don't remember the brand, but I know where I bought it. But the U-Haul. If you go to U-Haul, they sell packing tape there, and I swear it is like the best packing tape in the world. It's not cheap, mind you. It's pricey, but um, it sticks like nothing else. Like it's crazy good stuff, and it's fairly priced. I think it was like 12 or $14 a roll, but it sticks so well to something like cardboard or in stuff that's like normally kind of challenging for tape to stick to. It sticks incredibly well to that. So if you are moving, yeah, if you're moving or you're whatever and you're packing a lot of stuff in cardboard and you need it to work, you need it to not let go, buy some of that stuff. It is incredible how well it works. Now I got a little fat. I'm gonna try and loosen this up so I can get rid of that little fat section there. I was pulling it harder because I wanted to make sure I had enough material, but it does look like I'm gonna have enough material. Okay, let's twist that up again. Look at that, I had lots to spare. Might save this little end piece for a tail on the next one, maybe. We'll go like that, eh? Should I get one more in there? Yeah, I think I can get one more in there. I'll get one more out. But yeah, if you guys are looking for some good packing tape, obviously not like affiliated with them or anything, it's just from my experience moving and packing boxes, it's worth the extra money, God. You can tape that stuff and it's like, it's not going to go anywhere. And it's, oh, unlike my hook. Buddy, just stay in the vise. Why are you so slippy? Why so slippy? Yeah, I've heard that too, that the U.S. Postal Service tape is really good too. Um, but yeah, this stuff is seriously good. Like I don't rave about tape very often, but I was blown away at how well this stuff worked. Absolutely. Anyway, side thing to that note is I used some of that tape on my vice jaws, and it stuck extremely well, and it didn't leave that sticky, weird, goopy mess you have to clean up with. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you can, I mean, there's benefits to the hackle pliers and there's benefits to using your hand. For a long time, I just used my fingers, especially when I was younger and I had more dexterity. And yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with that. One thing I did for a long while too, I lost them. But Revlon makes a Stardust had pointed out to me. But I had to let them know that I already had a set of them. But there's a set of Revlon tweezers that have like, I'm pretty sure it's like diamond dust or something along those lines, that's embedded into the face plates of the tweezers. And when you grab something with those, like it's not going anywhere. And those are floating around in my fly tying stuff somewhere. Lord knows where. But I do own a pair of them, but I would highly recommend those too. And for a long time, I just used tweezers and just grabbed it with the tweezers, spun it around, just kept the pressure on it. But I guess you could say more recently, I've moved back to using the hackle pliers again, and different ones for different things. If you're doing like production time stuff and you're really worried about your time frames and how quickly you can pump out flies, then the more you can do without a tool, the faster you're going to be in the end of the day, right? So there's that. Yeah, I think it's a type of eyebrow tweezer, I'm pretty sure. So I got this here. I'm just going to be shredding this with the tip of my scissors here. And I'm just trying to get rid of that like exactly perfect flat cut. And I'm just cutting on like a number of different angles just to get rid of that. Because we do want it to fuzz out. I don't want it to be an exact flat. I'm going like way too crazy here. Like I said, these are traditionally, and especially for myself, fishing these are quick and dirty flies. I mean, these are not something you're passing down to your kid. I use my hemostats for all sorts of stuff, man. They're a handy tool, let me tell you, for all sorts of things. I got gobs of them laying around. And I always keep one in my truck, and I keep one in my tool kit and in my fly box and all over the place. Because not only are they handy for the tying of the hooks, but when you catch a fish, they're great to get in there, grab a small hook. Yeah, these things. I got a couple of them around my desk too, just for different things. These were great for like what I use this one for. I'll push it into frame. You don't want to go into frame, do you? Maybe it'll go into frame over here and just not be in focus. So the end of my my bobkin holder, which hangs out of frame, I'll use it to hold material on as like a second material clip, and I'll just have this sitting there and on the. You can use your imagination on the bobkin holder, and I'll use it to hold like a bobkin there or hold other material the other direction. So they're handy for that. They're handy for all sorts of things. They're just little clips. There we go. I'm gonna throw a little dab of head cement on this. Not that it's necessary, but it's calling to me. It's telling me to cement it. So we're gonna do that. There we go. Now this stuff takes glue quite well, actually, considering it doesn't take any dyes or resins at all, but it does take glue pretty well. And I'm just gonna try and get in there like I would the deer hair. This stuff ties down really well, though. I mean, like, I really don't need to glue and do all the things I'm doing. Yeah, and of course, like the nice thing is you can get them in, gobs of different sizes and styles and all everything, right? So, and they're cheap and you can pick them up almost anywhere. Like any stationery store is going to have them. Your Staples, your Office Depot, or whatever. Even dollar store. You could use a much heavier thread on this too, as well, because you're going to be building up heads like this. So if you want to save yourself some time, you could definitely go with a much heavier denier thread. I'm using a 6 though, so. What is a 6? Like a. Does it tell me on here? I don't think it has denier. Oh, it does. 136 denier. There you go. Yeah, Walgreens, whatever. I mean, any place that sells paper and pencils and staples and paper clips and all that's probably gonna have it. I really like, not that it matters whatsoever, there's absolute personal preference, but you can see the shape of that head. So I really like it to come in kind of flat on the top, have a little bump, and then like almost like a duck bill. Looks like I missed one thread wrap on your guys' side, so I'm gonna get that in here. Oh, don't you come out of my device. What is wrong with you? Yeah, I don't think I can get the vise any tighter. It's like, it's a funny size because it's just a hair too small to go into the detents, which is a shame because those detents will hold it in there real well. But it's a little bit loose in the detents. And it's just a little too big for the midge jaw portion. Okay. Oh, never mind. Mick Jagger. Yeah. They're MacGyver, my bet. Okay, so we'll do a half hitch on there. I'm gonna finish this head up, but I'm not gonna put the cement on it until we get the wing all nice and good. I'm really happy with the shape of that head, so we're just gonna go with it. Oh, Valhalzen, hey, good to see you, mate. I was just thinking about you. I was actually watching some shorts this morning while I was making some breakfast and that, and they were pouring. It must have been a lady that was teaching a class because she had a bunch of younger people around her and girls and boys and everything. So it might have even been like high school, but they were pouring aluminum into cast molds that they all made. And she had all the cast molds set out, and she was being a little bossy and yelling a fair bit because you only have so much time before the metal cools off, right? But yeah, they were pouring, and they unfortunately in the video they never actually opened the mold. I was kind of curious to see what kind of molds they were pouring. I'm assuming they were all just random, projects that the kids made. But I still wanted to see what they were. But they never did actually open, bust the sand molds up and open it. But yeah, I was thinking about you while I was watching that. I was like, hey, I bet he'd enjoy that. I always like sand casting. It's a lot of fun. It's like adult Play-Doh. But it's crazy dangerous if you get moisture around it. I had a few of them blow open and that because it expands so quick. Yeah, you get some pretty gritty blacksmiths, that's for sure. I'm gonna kind of like wreck this and then put it back together, and that'll give me a little bit better shape to my wing. If all these fibers are not super happy with their next door neighbor, it'll give it a little more poofy of a wing. But yeah, like Luca was saying, you can. I'm gonna do it here just for kicks and giggles, but hopefully it doesn't stay that way. But you can separate them. So you got like two wings. You can put a thread wrap in there to hold it. You can put a little dab of UV glue or regular head cement too. There we go. So I like to have mine, and I know it really doesn't matter. It's all personal preference, absolutely. But I like to have mine somewhat flat like that, but like just a little on the jaggedy bit. So if you just cut it with scissors, you end up with a nice sharp fan. Um, but for whatever reason, I find it just holds its shape and just works a little better if the ends are just a little bit frayed. Allows the fibers to go left and right a little bit more. There you go. Yeah, you just put a little boop, just a little dop on there. Some people will put a thread wrap in between, do like a figure eight to really hold them apart, but it really doesn't take a lot to hold them apart, really don't it? Yeah, there you go. That's another classic one. Like I said, I like to have that kind of corded body look like that. You can do it nice and yeah, you get as fancy or as quick and dirty as you want with this kind of thing, right? You could do a mylar ribbing on it. You could do a corded ribbing on it. If you really want to go crazy, you could do, like I said, the little puff tail out the back. We'll do that on the next one here, actually. I'll do a little puff tail because I got a little bit left. Oh, we need to put some head cement and all that on here. Yeah, I mean, lazy is one thing, but it's not necessary either, right? Like if your UV is gonna hold it down, it's not much different for like a nymph thorax cap or something too, right? I really wish sometimes I really wish I could use the UV. But I'm highly allergic to it. There you go. Good to have you back, Rob. We just finished this one up. I'm gonna do one more and it's slightly different. This is the traditional pattern here. But like Luca was saying, this is an excellent pattern for all sorts of. It's a good pattern to base things on, right? Like it's just a good basic catch a fish pattern. Like it's super simple to tie. It still teaches you a lot of different skills at the same time. You can't really muck it up. That's true. And that was kind of the point of the, like, that's why this fly was originally, I'm sure. I mean, I didn't talk to the guy because this is, before my time. But I can guarantee you, no, like fishing the same rivers that this guy was fishing and knowing how many of these you lose to get a fish. You got to be willing to lose them. And whether that's in the trees behind you, because a lot of times there's no, we don't have nice banks and sandy beaches or anything on our rivers and creeks here. It's rock and then trees, like right behind you. But yeah, like Luca was saying there, Rob, you missed out on is that it's, you can use this pattern for almost anything that'll eat like a small bait fish, which is most other fish. And you can switch the colors up, you can do so many things with this. And you can add a tail, you could add ribbing, like this is just a really good base for all the possibilities that you can play around with. There's no rules to it, right? You could make this red and blue if you want, you can make it all sorts. Yeah, green Frammus, yeah, we're just, this one's a pink Frammus. Green would be the opposite direction. So green Frammus would be a green body. Well, that's one of the reasons he used Fentex or like a floating poly yarn is it floats and it floats like a cork. So what you want to do is you want to have like a trailing shot, lead shot or whatever that's going down a bit lower than your fly, and you can feel the lead shot bouncing along the bottom. And this guy should be floating just above where that lead shot's hitting. And the steelhead and salmon are going to be right along the bottom because there's less, it's more efficient for them to get up the rivers that way. There's less current pushing them back, so they're going to be right at the bottom for the most part, or in a big pool. But yeah, this stuff will float like a cork, and it floats it by, and they'll nail it. Alright, so we'll do more spin and spiel. I should be spinning that while it's drying, and I kind of got a little flat spot here. Should I fix that? I think it's too late. I think we've gone past the point of no return, gentlemen. We'll just leave her. And today in the vise we got ourselves a Pink Frammus on a number 6 steelhead hook. This is a really simple pattern, but it's extremely effective. It was originally tied by Vic Stevens of Courtenay, Vancouver Island, Vancouver. So nice local pattern for me. And it was originally tied for winter steelhead, but you can use it in all the different rivers and tributaries around here, all up and down the Fraser, Thompson River, what have you. It became a very standard, classic fly. But it can also be used for any other fish that go after a bait fish pattern. The Pink Frammus has a pink body and a green chartreuse, or in this case they call it lime overwing. But you can tie it in different combinations, different colors, different patterns. We used a pink Fentex to wrap the body. Wrapped up, we spun it in a quarter or a clockwise rotation to give it that segmented look. If you can't find pink Fentex, you can definitely use chenille or whatever else you have laying around to give yourself a nice pink segmented body like that. And the overwing is again green lime Fentex, which is a current product, so you can definitely pick that one up. Excellent little pattern. Add a couple to your box. Oh, Devil's Club. Yeah, I got a love-hate relationship with that one. Yeah, most of our good fishing rivers and creeks around here have Devil's Club. And trying to crawl through that stuff, they call it that for a reason. It's nasty. Nasty, it'll cut you right open. For those that don't know what the Devil's Club is, it's basically a plant that grows almost like rhubarb, if you know what rhubarb looks like. It's got these long stalks that come up out of the ground, thankfully about waist height, and these big leaves that come off, almost look like a large maple leaf. And they hang over, so you can't tell what's underneath them. It covers the whole thing, and they normally grow in large groups, so there's be a whole field of them, or area of them that normally is close to water, so you have to kind of get through them to get to your fishing hole. I'll try and get some pictures of them actually the spring, summer when they're all back out again. But the rhubarb stalk that comes up, yeah, but the rhubarb stalk part that comes up is literally looks like a club, like it's thicker at the base and then thinner as it goes up. And they're really hard and really woody, but the hooks, like it has these nasty, super sharp, like claw-like hooks just all up and down that middle club that you can't see at all because of the big hangy. Yeah, and like you can't burn it, you can't, because it releases toxins. You can't pull it out because it's covered in these like wicked sharp thorns on it, and they have like a it's not quite as bad as like poison oak or like uh, ivy or any of the other stuff that we have here, but it's nasty enough. Like if you get poked with that stuff, it'll give you like a bumpy red, almost boily reaction on your skin. Like it's not fun. Itchy as all get out. Yeah, or stinging nettle, as my wonderful wife pointed out. It feels a lot like stinging nettle. Like it has a real kind of burning sensation to it. But yeah, yeah, I didn't know we had nettles here until the wife found some in our flower garden. And then it was like I broke out in stinging rash from it, and I was just like, well, I must be allergic to this stuff. And I like looked up the leaves and everything. I'm like, oh, it's a nettle. I'm like, I had no idea we had nettles this high because we're quite high up. We're like, what are we, like 1,500 meters above sea level, something like that. So I really didn't think stinging nettle grew this high up, but apparently it does. But yeah, back to the Devil's Club stuff. There's no easy way to get through it, so you kind of need to have like two walking sticks, and you stick them in the ground in like a V in front of you, and then move them away from yourself and try and walk around the club parts that are sticking up. But they have a really thick root base and they're really floppy, so they'll spring back and it's just nasty. There's no real easy way to walk through them that I've ever found. The easier way is just to walk around them if you can, instead of going through a patch of them. But nasty stuff. Yeah, I know. Like we found that out that nettle's got like so many like good uses, and of course you can make cordage out of it, and like it has and that's very true. Like up here too, we see the same thing. Like when I was a kid, we didn't have any whitetail deer up here. None. Like no whitetail. There was no whitetail. Now there's whitetail everywhere, and they've all come up. No offense to my American friends down there, but they've all come up from the States, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it pushes the native mule deer up higher because they take over the areas. They like the lowlands, the farmers' fields, that kind of thing. America. But yeah, they like to push the mule deers out. So there's a little bit of competition there, but they like different air. They like different. Did I make that wing a little too? Nah, whatever. We'll go with it. Like I said, this is supposed to be like a quick, dirty fly. I'm not supposed to be as picky about this stuff as I'm being. And I guess, yeah. Well, it's not that much bigger than his friend. But there's his friend. I guess I made the wing maybe a couple mils bigger on that one. But all good. Whatever. Let's do one up with a pink tail here, though. Excuse me. Get some more tea down the hatch. Mm. American. Well, my lovely, wonderful wife is American, so. Yeah, that's the thing is like, are the whitetail deer illegal immigrants or legal? Because it's like they've been doing that for a long time. Who knows if there was whitetail up here, a long time ago or not. I'm assuming not, just because the whitetail seem to like the, warmer climate, flatter ground, that kind of thing. I think we've almost always had mule deer here. I'd have to go back in my native history and see if they've had mule deer. One thing that's come back too, which is awesome, is we got elk here now. We had a herd of elk come through. It kind of creeped me out, to be honest, because I thought it was like a herd of deer, because we don't get elk coming through here very often. But there must have been like 48 of them, and they travel in a big group, and they just ran right across my road, and it was just like, like see in the movies, right? Yeah, and that's the thing is like we didn't have like they only changed the laws. Yeah, there's limits up here, but they definitely changed the laws so you can hunt more of them now. And they kind of had to because at first, like, the harvest laws were kind of a bit open, but there wasn't like you might see a whitetail kind of thing. Like if you got lucky, maybe you come across one. But now they're everywhere. So they've like exploded. And unfortunately, well, fortunately for the deer, unfortunately for the hunter, um, they they like to stay in the low-lying areas, which is all private land. You can't hunt there. You know, it's someone's farm field, right? So unless you have permission from the farmer, and even then, you got to be so long from a road, and a lot of farms are right by the roads and all that good stuff. So all the places they like to hang out are safe places where they can't get shot. So even though they've opened the harvests up on them a lot, um, their populations are drastically exploding. And just in like the last decade or so here, like I said, when I was a kid, there was no whitetail. None, not a zip of zero. But it's really cool seeing the elk here. The elk are amazing animals. And like we have lots of elk like farther north. Like you'd have to drive like an hour or two from here to see elk, and you could definitely see them all the time. So it's not like they're don't have the ability to come down here. But I was talking to one of the native chiefs here, and he was telling me stories about how they used to actually have elk come here very frequently, and it was really common to see elk here. I was like, really? Because I've like lived my whole life here, and I've never seen a single elk here. He's like, no, we got lots of old stories passed down that they'd have large elk hunts, and they used to come here all the time. So it's kind of cool to see them coming back because they're wonderful, beautiful animals. We got a couple large moose families that live up here too, and I've seen the mom not too long ago. And she had 2 babies, I think a male and a female, so hopefully they'll stick around and repopulate. What am I doing here? I think I'm going to tie in my tail first. And then we'll fluff that out. So we'll do tail like the working body length. Brought my line all the way up there, I really didn't need to. But yeah, it's crazy how just in my lifetime how the area has changed in flora and fauna. Actually, the timber wolves that you guys have, well, a lot of them got wiped out. But the ones like Yellowstone and that actually came directly from here. We literally grew them and shipped them down there. We had 7 or 8 full packs of wolves, and they were all collared. And they're not native. They're not the native timber wolves here. They were literally just grown for that. There's actually a National Geographic documentary on it. If you're interested, it's really well done. But we grew the timber wolves here, and they were collared and tracked, and then they would tranquilize them and box them all up in semi-trucks and drive them all the way down to the States and let them go in Yellowstone, and that's what got the wolves back into Yellowstone. But now we have extremely large timber wolves running around here. They don't cause trouble. Like there hasn't been any knock on wood. There hasn't been any issues with them. But I have to admit that they're terrifying, man. They're freaking huge. They're bigger than our black bears. They're a big predator. Yeah, that's true. I'm just kind of more referring to the ones that were rehabilitated in Yellowstone, but I know there's quite a, in Washington. There was still a lot of wild ones still doing their thing. Which is cool. I mean, it was kind of sad that they did end up obliterating all the wolves in Yellowstone. And it's a really cool documentary because it shows how just bringing the wolves back changed everything, from even the way the rivers were flowing, and like the whole landscape changed when the wolves disappeared to when they brought them back again. So that part of the documentary is really interesting to me, because you wouldn't think something like a carnivore would have an effect on the way the rivers flow, but what was happening is all the things that the carnivores eat, like the deer, were overeating all the willows and scrub brush and everything right close to the creek, because you can hang out by the creek all day. There's no wolves around that are gonna eat you. Yeah, grizzlies have a really crazy long range. Like we have a lot of grizzlies up here. Not as much exactly where I am, but very close to me. So it's not uncommon for us to see a grizzly every once in a while. But yeah, like an hour or so away from me, there's lots of grizzlies. And the way the grizzly works is they have a territory, and it can be quite large, like 20-30 miles, and they'll push all the other grizzlies out. If you have a mature grizzly in the area, he'll push all the young ones out. So the thing with most grizzlies is they'll become kind of semi-famous because they'll be the only one in the area. And all the locals will know, oh, that's so-and-so grizzly or whatever. And the only time that they cooperate a lot is during salmon season, because you'll see gobs of them in the rivers and creeks, and they'll ignore all their normal rules of get out of my pater. No, I didn't. I imagine they do, though. I don't see why they wouldn't. That's a lot of protein. I've seen them scavenge a lot on like the creek beds and mouths and everything. I forgot to do my half hitch, so I'm gonna have to spin that back up again after. Yeah, obviously I have an affinity for coyotes and wolves and that kind of thing, but the normal wolves that we had around here before those got brought in are like, I don't know, a quarter of the size of those big timber wolves. Like they're huge. Me and the wife were driving just outside of her home here, not very far away. There's a couple farms, and the area is beautiful. It reminds me just like Hobbiton, like the Shire. It's gorgeous, and we're just driving through. There's only one road through it, and nice kind of rolling hills with a bunch of pockets of little trees like aspens and whatever. And all of a sudden this little bunny, oh, okay, and then all of a sudden this little rabbit runs out on the road in front of the vehicle. So I put the brakes on, and then like just behind him this wolf comes chasing him, and I'm just like, holy man, he's like up to like the hood of my truck. He was so big. It's like, poor bunny, like you got no chance. But both of us just kind of looked at each other and went like, that was a big wolf. Because he was huge. We've got lots of like guardian dogs and all sorts of other stuff around here. And you get people with mixed animals that kind of look like wolves, but like, no, that was 100% a timber wolf. He was huge. I'm pretty sure that bunny didn't make it. He was on it like a bonnet. Yeah, we weren't even that far from our house. Like, we were maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers away. So it was kind of like, come on, Vice, just hold in there for me. Come on now. My Vice really doesn't like these hooks. They're like just the wrong size for it. I probably should have went up to like a size 4 or a size 2 for these. 'Cause like I was saying, traditionally that's what I would be fishing. Oh yeah, I'm not holding out much hope for that thing because there's like barbed wire fence on either side, of the road, and of course the bunny goes under the fence, and the dog just leaps right over the fence on both sides, doesn't even miss a step. It's amazing how powerful those animals are. It's just crazy. It makes your doggo at home look like a chihuahua. And we got a pretty decent sized dog. But it's one of the many reasons I don't walk around outside at nighttime anymore. I used to love going for runs at night, but yeah, not going to do that with animals like that around. So I don't know what you would even do if you had to face one of those things. You got thousands of years of evolution of surviving just eating meat. Like, the only reason that animal is standing in front of you is because he's literally a murder machine. Or he wouldn't even be there. So it's like, good doggy, good doggy. I'm just gonna back up now. Yeah, we had a mountain lion just walking down our driveway too. I thought it was a big girl. Oh, her tail was so long. Yeah, I mean, so like the thing, like a lot of people are worried about the grizzlies, and they can get overpopulated and they can cause problems because they are so territorial. But because they are territorial, when you're talking about reintroducing them, they're gonna spread out. Like they don't like having their kind around, right? So they, generally speaking, as far as I know, for other areas that have introduced bears, they kind of don't hurt anything, right? Like they don't cause a lot of problems. That's a good point, Rob. Yeah. Uh, yeah, no, it's all about the next meal and mating and the next meal. There we go. I have the song specifically in here for Vilgrim's little daughter because she thought it was a cute song. And I'm keeping it in my playlist, dang it. Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's gobs of problem bears out there, and, like, we have our share that they have to come deal with from time to time, but, for the most part, with grizzlies, they're a really solitary animal. They don't want to be bothered with. You know, they're an apex predator. They're the size of a truck. Nothing's going to bother them, so they don't care, right? They're not looking for trouble. They can find trouble, like, don't get me wrong, but they're not looking for it. They're not there to cause crap. They're just there to survive. And for the most part, they don't always have like really bad attitudes either, because they just want to be left alone. Yeah, likely did. And a lot of times with those cases, it's because that's the ants go marching. Yeah, that's right. You don't need to run fast. You just need to run faster than the chubby guy in front of you. like all that being said, I got some video. I should throw it up as a short, but I got some video of black bear or grizzly bears fighting each other and just kind of like not really play fighting because they don't really play fight. They were upset at each other with some salmon and like the strength those things have, like it is ridiculous. Yeah, and then he gets into a fight with them, and he knows at that point he starts seeing the people as not necessarily suppliers of food, but like can take away his food supply, right? So they get more territorial. Like 90% of the time, if an animal has to be put down, it's because someone was an idiot and did something stupid, unfortunately. You do, just like anything else, though, in life, animals can be just like people, and sometimes you get an animal that's honestly just a jerk and causes problems. So that happens. But yeah, as far as like black bears and stuff go, I've never been scared or worried about a black bear. Like they don't cause any trouble. Well, they cause trouble, but I mean they're not like they're not the same as a grizzly where you really need to pay mind. There you go. Or don't trust the bald barbers either, right? Yeah, I could have definitely went with a thicker denier, so building these heads up wasn't taking so long. That's okay. It works. It's almost like a big like brain shift for me, switching from like small little dry flies up to like these big streamers. It's such a different mechanic, but it's fun. It's cool. I enjoy it. Yeah, yeah. Like don't get me wrong. Black bears of all things, will. Yeah, we're the same way up here for the most part. Unfortunately, with black bears, because they are smaller, they're more, I want to say curious, for lack of a better way to describe it. They just like to get into things more than a grizzly will. The grizzly's got to have intention. It happens. There you go. My wife is a wonderful cook. God, I love my wife's cooking. Sandhill hunting. You have to remind me what that is. Is that like a style or a place or? I somehow managed to get some of that head cement all the way down in my eye. I'm not sure how that happened, but let's get that cleaned out. Didn't think it would migrate that far. One second, let me get a quill here. Come on, Nimby, making all the newbie mistakes. Jeez, get to it. There we go. Man, that quill's getting kind of gummed up, but that's good. That's what its job is. Wow, that really went all over the place, didn't it? Okay, so I'm going to cut this up. My, yeah, it's like, are they really newbie mistakes if we're still making them? Maybe they're just mistakes. I'm just cutting this. Now you guys probably can't see too well. I'm just trying to cut this. I got a little bit of a curl in the material here. Oh, sandhill cranes. I've heard about that. I can't imagine there's much of any meat on those things, though. They're so, like, skinny, right? I guess they must have good breast feathers. Or breast meat, because they must have good-sized breast feathers, because they have, like, a decent wingspan. But other than that, I mean, they look like walking toothpicks. Let's make a chartreuse mess. Rainy little chartreuse bits everywhere. Yeah, no, I agree. There's certain animals I don't think should be hunted or that mate for life. Lobsters are another one. They mate for life too. I just have like a little bit of a, I don't know if it's showing up on the camera there, but just because of the way the material was wrapped. Breast meat, okay. I'm gonna cut this short here again, and then I'm just gonna try and shorten this up. Just the material was wrapped at that point, so it's kind of got a bit of a curve to it that I'm not liking, so we're just gonna shorten it up. Hey, thanks for stopping in. There we go. Gosh, I made a mess of that. Okay, let's, where did I put my brush? But yeah, if you got like, gun cleaning supplies, a bore cleaner makes an excellent, dubbing brush, or whatever you want to term it as. And you can get them. You can get like nylon bore cleaners. You can get copper. You can get brass. You can get them all sorts. Oh, later he was. Good to have you in, mate. Have a good rest of your day. Really, that's crazy. I can't say I've ever eaten that. I have heard many people say that it's crazy good, though. Got a few like crazy fibers here. Let's get rid of those. There we go. There we go. There, he's wow. Actually, my kind of out of camera view because it's got such a big wing. There, let's pop that up. Behave yourself. There we go. Alright, yeah, I'm happy with it. That looked out okay. Let's throw some head cement on there now. But yeah, this one's looking more like the traditional ones I used to tie with the mono. We just do them in like red or orange or pink. If I did pink, I normally do like a pink tail and then do like an orange body with an orange wing. And we would just tie these with the mono with a snelled hook, and as we were snelling the hook, we'd just wrap the yarn in. Super simple. Basically just a yarn body, yarn over wing. And just like an egg yarn is what we used to use. Or we use this Fentex. And lots of people caught a lot of fish on them. Simple, easy, you can do up like dozens of them. Yeah, I don't normally ask for the subscribes, but I think I only need like 1 or 2 subscribers to get to 1,000. So if you guys are watching and you're not subscribed yet, you want to be that 1,000 subscriber, that would be really cool. I mean, how often do you get to be the 1,000 subscriber on a channel? Ugh, and of course I had to touch the head there. Come on, buddy. Oh, good enough. Yeah, I got my camera went a little bit funky on me, to be honest. Really nice. Here, I'm gonna try and readjust the camera. Just give me a second here. That might be slightly better. Yeah, colors are looking a little better to me now. I need to adjust. I'm going to be readjusting my whole camera setup here shortly because I want to do the proper vertical horizontal feed that YouTube just put out here. So I'm going to readjust everything shortly here. I love me some Piggy. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm not going to push it. It'll come with time, but um, it is kind of like not irritating, but it's like you're so close. Come on, just one more. Come on, YouTube, you teasing me here. Yeah, I love me some Piggy, Luca, for sure. Piggy's probably my favorite meat. Fortunately, they have to be so tasty. Yeah, wild pigs can be a problem too. I mean, they can be nasty. They can cause all sorts of problems. Not that they don't have a right to be out there, but like, as far as animals on your property go, wild pig can cause all sorts of issues. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a spin and spiel again here, so I'll just be a moment. And the vise, we have a Pink Frammus. This was originally tied by Vic Stevens of Courtney, Vancouver Island, Vancouver. And this one's tied on a size 6 that has a fluorescent pink body from Fentex and a chartreuse, or in this case lime green overwing. Very simple pattern, super effective for steelhead and trout, all up and down the tributaries like the Thompson, the Fraser, and everything that connects to it. Excellent little pattern, easy to tie. You can change this up, add different colors to it. This was originally tied by him in 1967 and has been a staple in the interior and coast of BC since then. Wonderful little pattern. This is the Pink Frammus on size 6. It's all good, man. I feel you, man. And sometimes I jump into a chat and it's like, oh, how am I going to say hi to like 25 people that are in here that I want to say hi to? The struggle is real. Sometimes I feel like it's better just to say hi all because it's like there's so many of us that hang out in so many different chats. And it's like, you don't want to be rude and not say hi to people, but in the same token, it's like, there's so many people. But yeah, I like the way this looks. Like, this is like what I traditionally tied with this tail like that. So there we go. But yeah, that's my traditional pattern that I grew up tying and fishing was this one. But I did a lot more orange and red was the colors. I know, tell me about it. One sub away, right? But you know, a year from now, who knows, maybe it'll be up at 6K or 2K or whatever, and it'll be the same problem all over again. That's the thing with the YouTube numbers. It's a never-ending treadmill. Really? Yeah, like that's the thing with wild pig is 'cause a lot of times they just start off as domestic pig, and then once they get out and become wild, then they come back, they turn back into wild boars again, right? And then they can spread like crazy. Nah, they don't tease me. What are you talking about, Val? Oh, it's going good, Doug. Good to have you in, and Wee Man, and yeah, everyone's back. I'm not sure if I want to tie one more or if I want to call it a day. It's really foggy out. I just realized I can barely see. It's nice and bright out, but we got that kind of ice fog. I gotta cut some wood today too. May as well do it while it's warm out. Oh, yeah, you know what, guys? I think I'm gonna call it today and get some of my morning chores done and get a fire going. It's kind of almost too warm for a fire, but it's right on that edge. It's really wet out, so it's kind of sucking the heat out of the house. But yeah, thanks for the chat this morning. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, you can straighten your beard out, and it looks a lot bit longer. But yeah, I just want to say thanks to everyone. So we got Doug in here, we got Jack Pepper, we got Trudge, Robert, Valhalla, we got Wee Man, Ewad's had to take off, Luca. Let's see if I'm missing anyone else here. Vic, we got. I think I got everyone. Oh, if I missed anyone, I apologize. You guys have a good morning. Thanks for the hang in the chat. Always appreciate it. See you guys tomorrow.